Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldus and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. First off, a couple orders of business. First thing is I am now, like the rest of the team, tying on a Griffin Montana mongoose. I actually previously always tied on a Griffin. This is a Griffin 3 ARP, but the fancy people over at Griffin were nice enough to send me the mongoose. So thank you to them. They're awesome. Definitely look at the vices. Definitely look at the goose. We all love it. Next order of business is Solares. Huge hookup. Boom. All the Solares. So also super stoked to have those guys on board with the show. Great resin products. Super stoked to start using them. Next is a new sponsor of the show. Chinook Wind Outfitters. Lovely lady runs the shop by the name of Susan. I've actually been buying stuff from her already for the past couple months. Amazing customer service. Please check her out. She's now officially supporting the show as one of our sponsors, and we are super stoked to have her on board. Chinook Wind Outfitters, and I think it's just www.chinookwindoutfitters.com. I'll be sure to get a link in the description for you guys. You can click on that. Lastly, my boy, the Fly Fiend. Check him out too. He was nice enough to send me some hooks, and today I'm going to tie you a fly on one of his hooks. So let's take her down to the vise and I will show you how to get this fly done. Okay guys, so today we're going to be tying what I'm calling the upside down Prince. I will give you just a little slow roll. It's basically a Prince Nymph tied on a jig hook, and the wings are what would be the underside if it was tied normally. So nothing too crazy, that's all it really is. We're just going to pop this one out of the vise, and I will get a Fly Fiend number 12 jig hook with a 3.5 millimeter gold tungsten bead into this vise. And there we go. So we're starting with UTC 70 red. I like to give this a bunch of wraps right up inside that gap. Kind of just helps lock it in there. And then we will tie it back. Take the tag end of your thread, of course, get rid of it. Just flatten this thread out a bit. We're just going to take the thread right back to where the flat part of the shank ends and just make a small, maybe 3 or 4 turn thread ball there. And at this point we're going to tie in our biots. These are Nature Spirit Blue Wing Olive biots. The reason I'm using these ones and not like a traditional brown is because the brown ones I have, to be honest, are garbage. These Nature Spirit ones are ridiculously nice. Highly recommend them. I don't even remember where I bought them, but I gotta find them again. So I'm not super good at tying these in, so I still tie them in one at a time, and I play with them quite a bit to get them where I want them. So there's one. The length of the tail is personal choice, but I think it's 2/3 of a shank length is where I like them roughly if you were going to do a measurement. But it doesn't have to be exactly that, of course. You can do it. You can do whatever looks good to you, whatever you think will look good at the fish. It's your fly. There's no real rules here. So we tied those in. I'm just going to wrap them up the body a little bit. I'm mainly just doing this to keep the consistency of the body width the same up the entire fly. So instead of cutting it off right at the tail, and that way if you cut it off at the tail, you kind of end up with like a weird forward taper. So if you tie that material in the whole length of the way down, it ends up being more of a smooth, at least same, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. Doesn't taper the wrong way. How about that? Next material, gold ultra wire in small. This is our ribbing. I like to take this wire, put it in the gap of the bead, catch it, wrap it down. As I wrap it down, I like to pull it over to the same side as myself. Wrap it back up a little bit. Next material is just going to be two, these are just strung. Sorry, there we go. Peacock curl. We're going to tie it in by the tips, but I'm going to actually snip off a bit of the tips because they're super brittle. And then so these are the tips, these are the butt ends over here. So we're going to tie it in by the tips. Both at once, tie it back down. Right to the tail. All the way forward again and stop right behind your bead. So now we'll just take these, wrap them forward. Maybe I could have used the rotary on this. I'm still getting used to actually having a rotary, so I'm so used to hand twisting all this stuff that it's kind of a crazy luxury that I'm not used to yet, to be perfectly honest with you. Alright, so we'll take it right up to the bead, capture it with one wrap down tight. There's 2, 3, 2 in front. Sometimes you can pull these off. Hey, there we go, we did it. Look at that, looking like a professional. And so we'll take the wire and I'm actually going to wrap it the opposing way, or the opposite way that I wrapped the peacock curl, and the reason being is it helps to lock that peacock into place a little more than if you would have done it the same way. You could do it the same way. I think this is just a little more secure. So we'll capture that wire now. 3 turns, then put some pressure on it. 2 in front. I think I just did 3, which makes me a terrible liar. Done. So now we will invert our fly, because we can do that on this vise, which is pretty sweet. And next material is going to be a Hungarian partridge feather. I got these from Chinook Wind Outfitters, so check them out. I've already prepared this feather. I took a feather out and I've stripped off the fuzzies, and I've cut a little V into the top. And now I'm going to kind of judge where I want, how far I want the legs to go back. And then sometimes you're gonna have to pull, you'll take some of the fibers out of the equation. And I'll just pull those off too. And so I kind of like the tail, or these legs, to basically just touch the biots. So once you got it into place, you just kind of pinch it, give it a pinch ramp. You can pull it back on top. Manipulate a little bit with your fingers if you can. Anybody with some sausage fingers probably can't do that as well as maybe I can with my smaller, dainty hands. But I get a little particular and try to pull them out to the side. So I'm pretty happy with that there. Couple tight wraps, and then we will cut this guy out of here. This is where it pays off to have a really nice pair of scissors, which I'm not going to lie to you, these aren't the finest tip scissors in the world. But you know what, I'm pretty happy with that cut. That didn't turn out too bad. But what I'm going to do is kind of just sneak my thread in there to clean it up a bit. So the one thing I forgot to grab, so you'll have to excuse me, is I forgot to grab the white goose biots for the tail. So I got them. So they're actually not white, they're Light Cahill, if I'm pronouncing that right. Again, Nature Spirit. These biots are just, they're just a heck of a lot better than the, you know, cheap no-name or store brand ones you can get. I really, really like them. So 2 out of here, of course. I was going to take the first one. I got a stray little partridge fiber in there. I'm going to try to push over before I put my wings in there. There we go. So again, this is personal preference to length. I'd like it to kind of just extend. Basically, the tip is going to come to right at the farthest end of the hook, where the hook reaches. So you kind of have to reach in there with your other hand, hopefully keeping that relatively flat, and just secure it down. Sometimes you have to take it and give it a little push. You see how I'm pushing it there and it's moving. Hopefully you can see that. And it's just coming out a little bit. You might have to play with them a little bit. We're going to set them in with some Solarez and when we're done, so it won't really matter. So try to match that one up, same length. And get those wraps in there to secure it. Kind of wrap up to the bead as close as you can. And you know what? I'm pretty darn happy with that. So I'm just going to get a whip finish right on there before I even cut those biots. And again, of course, I forgot a tool I need. Bear with me, people. Sorry. I like to use an X-Acto knife. Just roll it over there. And it pops those biots off super clean. So you can kind of see it there now, how I have it. You could call that done, but I don't like to leave it like that because I didn't fold the biots over, so they're probably not locked into place very well. So I'm going to use this Solarez UV Clear. This is the bone dry, and just going to hit it with a light little coat where those biots are in and the top of your threads there, and just hit it with the Solarez lamp. Just a couple seconds. That's all she needs. And she's done. So slow roll that. That's actually pretty fast tie. That's not too bad for me. I know I've done some marathons and talked too much and made some long videos, but hopefully that one was a little more appropriate. Cool little pattern. Nice and buggy. She'll sink like a rock because of the tungsten bead and ride hook point up so you don't snag her because of the jig hook. Yeah, so I'll take her up top. Can you see my thumbs? Yeah, I'm pointing up. I'll take her up top and sign out of this video. Well, that's it for me, guys. Hope you really enjoyed that one. Another big, huge shout out to all our sponsors: Solarez, Griffin, Chinook Wind Outfitters, Superfly, of course. We all super appreciate the support. Super stoked to have everybody on board with this show and everything we do. And yeah, thanks a lot. Have a good one, and make sure to have a safe weekend to go catch some fish. See you, everybody.
Friday Night Flies would like to thank the following sponsors: Superfly, Solarez, Chinook Wind Outfitters, Dr. Slick, Griffin, Stonefo.